20 News channel and press the bell icon to never miss an update. Big Ben's famous bongs rang out at midnight as London welcomed in the new year before more than 10,000 fireworks lit up the sky. More than 100,000 ticket holders swamped the banks of the River Thames in London for the 12-minute display after Big Ben's bongs rung out across the capital at midnight, having been turned back on for the festive period. After being silenced for renovation work, Big Ben's bongs rang out for only the second time since August to usher in 2018. But they will fall silent once again on New Year's Day at 1 p.m. to continue ongoing crucial repairs of the Elizabeth Tower. This year's 12-minute fireworks display featured a soundtrack dominated by female artists to mark the centenary of women being granted the vote. Songs by Aretha Franklin, Annie Lennox, Dua Lipa, Florence Welch and Ariana Grande were among those included in the woman-only second half of the world-famous show. Ariana Grande's hit One Last Time was also played during the display, in what is thought to be a touching tribute to the victims of the Manchester Arena attack. Heart-wrenching footage of the 24-year-old singer performing the ballad in the closing moments of her May 22 concert circulated in the days after the attack. The video footage was taken moments before Salman Abedi detonated a bomb which injured more than 100 and killed 22, including an 8-year-old girl. Spectators flocking to the sold-out fireworks display were urged to remain vigilant and report concerns to police. Scotland Yard confirmed fewer Metropolitan Police officers would working during the celebration, despite the capital being hit by 4 terror attacks in 2017. But security at the event appeared tight, with armed police on patrol and security barriers erected. Superintendent Nick Aldworth said the force will have the right response at the right locations. The Met Office said conditions in the city would be much calmer by midnight in the wake of Storm Dylan, with temperatures of around 5°C, 41°F. In Edinburgh, tens of thousands of people were expected to welcome in the new year at the Hogmanay celebrations, one of the world's biggest street parties against the backdrop of Edinburgh Castle. The city's Hogmanay celebrations are going ahead as planned despite Edinburgh experiencing some of the worst conditions brought by Storm Dylan earlier in the day. Princess Street, where celebrations are set to take place, was temporarily closed to pedestrians in the afternoon due to weather-related debris but is open again for Sunday evening's street party. Underbelly, which is producing the event for the first time, is promising the best party ever for the 75,000 people attending, with live music, DJs, street entertainment and the ultimate fireworks display from Edinburgh Castle. Rag and Bone Man is headlining concert in the Gardens, with Declan McKenna and Nina Nesbitt as support acts, while those performing on the 3 street party stages include the Human League, Sacred Paws, Treacherous Orchestra, and Huey Morgan. People from around the world traveled to Edinburgh to enjoy the atmosphere of the street party, which also features street performers, dancers, acrobats and fire eaters. Elsewhere in Scotland, celebrations include a street party at Schuylkill in Aberdeen featuring live music from the Mersey Beatles and the Banjo Lounge 4, before a fireworks display from His Majesty's Theatre rooftop at midnight. Stirling hosted its biggest ever midnight fireworks display, focused around the castle, while in the fireball ceremony in Stonehaven, Aberdeenshire, around 40 people will parade up and down the high street swinging flaming balls around their heads to welcome in the new year. Auckland was the first major city in the world to kick off the celebrations, followed by Sydney where an estimated 500,000 spectators gathered to watch an incredible fireworks display light up the sky over the city's iconic harbour. A host of European cities, including Paris and Berlin, rang in 2018 with extravagant fireworks displays an hour before London. Across the UK, unprecedented numbers of armed officers were deployed to protect partygoers from the threat of terror after ISIS threatened to unleash New Year's Eve hell. In the capital, which endured 4 major attacks last year, more than 3,000 marksmen were positioned at key locations on the city's streets and tube network. A ring of steel was erected on the city's streets and fences were reinforced with metal barriers along the embankment. Vehicle obstacles have been set up around bridges. Undercover officers were also mixing with the crowds to monitor the celebrations. There was also a police presence across the capital's transport network, with officers riding the tube with revelers. New Year's Eve was one of the 2 biggest events for the Met along with Notting Hill Carnival, as officers from across the capital are deployed to help out. The precautions came after 4 terrorist attacks in London in 2017, with horrific attacks in Westminster in March, and London Bridge in June. There were similar precautions taken at Christmas markets across the country, with anti-vehicle barriers and steel fences set up to ensure shoppers were kept safe. Organizers and police increased security over fears of an attack similar to the one at a Christmas market in Berlin in December 2016. However, while security measures were ramped up to ensure the public are safe, Scotland Yard admitted there will be fewer officers on the ground this year. Police officer numbers across the country are at their lowest level for 30 years, despite the current UK terror threat level set at severe. Metropolitan Police Superintendent Nick Aldworth said, "We are providing a proportionate number of officers based on the threat, number of people coming, and the secure environment we've been able to build. We have fewer officers policing here this year, but they represent the appropriate number of resources that we need. You'll understand that the planning for these events is very, very detailed. It's done by a very, very expert team. They've assessed the number of officers that we need. People coming into London will see armed police officers, they will see other technical measures such as cameras and security notices. What they won't see are some covert resources that are here to look after them. But they can come to London in the certain knowledge that that operation is being led by one of the most experienced command teams that we have. It's a safe environment." Scotland Yard said operational reasons stopped them from being able to discuss specific numbers on duty this Sunday. There were 3,000 at last year's celebrations. Mr. Aldworth said the public should be reassured by the number of officers available. I think the message I would give to the public is to be reassured that we've got the right number of officers to police this event, he said. We want them, the public, to be alert, not alarmed. A spokeswoman for London Mayor Sadiq Khan said, "The safety of Londoners is the mayor's #1 priority. He and his team are in close contact with the Metropolitan Police, TfL and other key agencies, and we have appropriate plans for security in place. Of course, we encourage everyone coming to the event to be vigilant and to report anything of concern to a steward or police officer." In a video message, Mr. Khan hailed Londoners for their response to an extremely difficult 2017 for the capital, marred by 4 terror attacks and the Grenfell disaster. He said, 2017 has been an extremely difficult year for London. A year marred by the devastating Grenfell Tower fire and appalling terrorist attacks. But during these tough times, the incredible generosity of Londoners and the bravery of our emergency services has shown through. This has helped give a renewed sense of hope and optimism for the future. A true test of character is how you respond in tough times. Londoners have more than met that challenge this year. The news of decreased police numbers on duty for New Year's Eve comes days after ISIS incited its followers to attack London and other large global cities with a gruesome series of propaganda posters and videos. They released a video showing an explosion at Big Ben, a train coming off its tracks and a car hitting people in a street. The clip tells people to attack those at Christmas markets, clubs and churches. There are also posters showing scenes of devastation in cities around the world with words like "Wait for us on your New Year parties" and "Soon on your holidays." Millions of people around the world are celebrating the start of the new year with elaborate fireworks displays. Capital cities across Europe have welcomed in the new year with fireworks displays seen in Athens, Berlin, Paris, and Rome. Greece was one of the first nations in Europe to welcome the new year, with the bells for 2018 ringing at 2200 hours GMT. France, Germany, Italy, Spain and other nations across Western Europe welcomed in the new year an hour later, with party-goers braving wet conditions in many countries. In his New Year's message, he said, "Say the most cherished words to each other, forgive mistakes and resentment, admit love, warm up with care and attention. Let the trust and mutual understanding always accompany us." Auckland, in New Zealand, was the first major world city to kick off the party, followed by Sydney, where 1 million people were thought to have watched the display over the city's iconic harbour. A rainbow waterfall plunged off the harbour bridge to celebrate recently passed legislation legalising same-sex marriage in Australia. Not to be outdone, Melbourne boasted that it had splashed out to ensure the city's own fireworks display would not be beaten by Sydney. In Hong Kong, thousands of revellers took to the streets near Victoria Harbour, where an impressive fireworks display lit up the night sky. Rio de Janeiro's display is expected to commence at 2 o'clock GMT, while New York's display is scheduled for 5 o'clock GMT. Dubai's New Year's Eve fireworks display was abandoned this year due to security concerns, with the United Arab Emirates city opting for a world record-breaking light display on the Burj Khalifa. 2 years ago, the city suffered a scare when a huge fire ripped through a luxury hotel just hours before the fireworks display was due to begin. This year, the world's tallest building was emblazoned with the year of Zayed, the former president of the United Arab Emirates, to welcome in the 2018